Allah, umdali wetu Allah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem. We welcome you to another exciting episode, Conversations with Soweto Muslim Association. We bring you another excellent, very intelligent and well-known guest, none other than Moulana Dawood Ndlovu, who most of you know him as Ukajeni. Hazrat Moulana, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I would like to welcome you to the show.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Tuma malbegu Allah. Nobukhulu bobegu Allah. Siyabonga ukuthi namhlanje nathi sikwazi ukuthi sifinyelele ey'tudweni zaku SMA Soweto Muslim Association. Siyabonga ukuthi nathi simenywe.
Kubonga thina isikhathi senu esibaluleke kangaka kusinika leli thuba ukuthi sikhulume nani ukuze sazi kangcono ngempilo yakho Moulana Dawood Ndlovu. Going straight to the business of the day, we'd like to know more about you, Moulana. Normally people don't really know about certain individuals because bonani ndleleni, but we don't know the journey yakho as a young man coming into Islam, growing in Soweto, being the forerunners of Islam back in the days. The journey that we want to talk about. Who is Linda Ndlovu? You know, uzalulephi ngamuphi unyaka kuphi wakhula kanjani umndeni and izinto ezifana njengalezo.
Let me also again extend my gratitude to Ngibonge for such an opportunity that for the longest of time is been awaited for. To really speak about our journey as the Black Muslims of South Africa, or the inhabitants of South Africa, or the indigenous of South Africa, that we've been looking for such a platform whereby we can actually talk about us, lapho siphuma khona, and nalapho mhlambe siya khona, and our very humble beginnings about this religion and this journey of Islam. uDawood uLinda wakwaNdlovu Gatsheni uzalwa eDeepening. I was born in Deepening, zone 5. Lapho ekuzalwe bonke abantu esibancangise khona in a space of Ibara, the largest hospital in the southern Africa, or if you like in Africa, one of the biggest hospitals. I was privileged also that I have the history of being born there. I was raised in Deepening, at Deepening zone 5. Born in Deepening, next to Ibara, which is in Deepening, and born in Deepening in zone 5. Ngasemabomvini mabe basho ngasenkambini kaGG. I was born from a very beautiful woman, uMavilakazi. Ubuyile Maria Ndlovu. Okumavilakazi uzalwa ubaba uVilakazi. Ngaphansi kwesalukazi uMambatha. Ugogo engangumzukulu wakhe oqala. The very first grandchild of uMambatha. uNozizwe Elizabeth. Owayezwana nelinye ijongo laphana bathi ubaba uNorman Mohapi, umSotho. That's why nangeSotho nje ngeke uzongithikamizese kakhulu ngoba siyasazi iSotho from ekhaya. While growing up in Deepening, surrounded by many of the issues, because I was born during the time of apartheid. During that time, there was a lot of riots that were taking place and all of that. And there was a lot of also of issues of a Group Areas Act. From a Deepening, the culture of Elokishini, Soweto, is that most of us, we are born endlini zabogogo. Endlini zabogogo nabomkhulu. One day mhlambe sizoyixoxa leyo ndaba leyo ukuthi iningi labantu that are saying that they are pure blood South Africans, you may find ukuthi also Puma from the southern part of Africa, in the places like Malawi, in the places like Swaziland, Botswana, Mozambique, and all of that, because they came during that time. Itipkloof, if you look at it, it is not very far from Gwigwima mines. So in the mines, there used to be those people that used to come and work in the mines. And so abogogo bethu babesuka from emakhaya eNatali, where they would come and settle there. Soweto, if you look at it from 1930, where these people, whenever bogogo bebezile, somehow there was an arrangement yokuthi mangabe ushadile bebakunikeza iforum, mawungashadanga bebakunikeza i-3-room house. So abogogo bethu babeshada nabantu laba abasebenza emamayini so that they may get a bigger space of houses. And this is the background in where we were when we were born at Diepkloof, Soweto. Thereafter, because of besesiba baningi angithi kusendlini kagogo sibaningi kakhulu siyachitheka. My grandmother, who is a mother, in fact, this was the house of my great-grandmother at Diepkloof. My grandmother, who now thought ukuthi senginabantwana abaningi manje, abantwana bami nabazukulu babo. Then we moved to a place within Soweto also as well, a white city. A white city was referred to as a Kansas. Kansas City. So there, Ikasleitleva, le Okapi. And so, but thina besuka from a Calvas. A Calvas, Diepkloof was known as a Calvas. So from a Kansas, this is where my beginning then starts, because of I was a young boy then. Must figure a white city. I remember beslala ngakazamula. Many of people would know Kazamula, laphana ngase crossroad. This is where I started my primary school as a white city. Ekukuletu. Khona isikole bebathi Kukuletu. Something that it's so amazing. I spoke to the chairperson of the SMA, and he was talking about the dream of having a school at Soweto. And he said, while he was actually explaining that, he said that, look, Koniskolo, which SSS pointer and was approved for us. And what school is that? He said, Ikukuletu. I then realized this is Kolo engaqala kusi primary school, you know. Wow. I said, this is so amazing. When Allah makakuvulela uyakuvulela. So Ekukuletu, this is where I started, next to Ifret Lak. From there, you know, Elokshini, there is a lot of movements that were happening. There was a lot of movements that were happening around and all of that. So amongst the movement that was there, according to Abati Gashabalala, Ushabalala, it was referred to as Mfulo North. Or Mfulo Central, somewhere there, Mfulo Central. Lapo Ushabalala, you know, we used to know guys like Abo Sofa Sonke and all of that, the people that were very famous in Malokshini. Ushabalala was one of those that Begai Ukapatia, you know, he was the main guy and the leader that people look up to in terms of being a very successful businessman. Abu Richard Maponya and all of that, we knew of them as Lalekas. But Ushabalala then, where he was Stati Squatter Camp. I think he's one amongst the people who ever started this thing, Squatter Camp, informal settlements, while he was there in Mfulo Central. Then he told the people, no, we can't be living like this in squalors. We can't live like this as subhumans. Rather, I found a place whereby I will take you guys there. It has been approved for the first time. My grandmother had this because of lapho besihlala khona white city besingahlali kwethu besiqashile ejardini lomuntu. Then my grandmother said, no man, ngizwile umngane wami athi khona indawo entsha ezovulwa and ngicabanga ukuthi sihambe soyibona sikwazi ukuthi sithole indawo entsha. Little did I know ukuthi leyo ndawo leyo my grandmother bekakhuluma ngayo ukuthi siyohlala khona. Today it is referred to as the Orange Farm. We moved with the people. Sahamba sayohlale Orange Farm for the first time. This was between the year 1988-1989. Safika Orange Farm around 1988-89, somewhere there. Safika, it was indawo bebizwa ngokuthiwa isibomvu because of it was red sand that was there, you know, Orange Farm. We dusted. That's why namhlanje basabiza ukuthi kusedustini. Now we are there in Orange Farm. In Orange Farm, safika kunganayikolo. Benganayikolo Orange Farm because of, remember, bengisuka from Soweto Kukuletu, I was still in that lower primary school. If it like that was next to us, it was a higher primary school. But Masia Orange Farm, remember, Masuga, Soweto Suga, we are divided as per our ethnic groups. Ngoba birth certificate yami ngiyakhumbula namhlanje ngisanayo ephepha ebhalwe ukuthi ethnicity, ethnic group besithi Zulu. yiko ngigqaja ngobuzulu bami ngoba ibhaliwe ilotshiwe phakathi ephepheni ukuthi ngumzulu. So when we go to an area that is near Orange Farm, sifuna iy'kolo zesiZulu. We found that there were 2 schools that were there at Orange Farm. Abantu base-Orange Farm, they would know there was a Nomini and there was a Jabulile. Unfortunately, besingekho isiZulu. I don't know those people ebebalapho ukuthi bebafunda kanjani endaweni ey'koleni ezifana nabo-Nomini and all of that, when there was no people that were actually staying there. Maybe the people that were coming from Everton, Sebokeng and all of that, you know. And now we're coming and we're settling at Orange Farm. Must figure Orange Farm as young boys. Then they came up with somehow a new solution ukuthi abantwana bafunda kanjani abakhuluma isiZulu. Then they said day school. Day school kuzofundiswa isiZulu, morning school kuzofunda beSotho and all of that. This continued and continued. Ushabalala then thought lower letha abantu Orange Farm and opened up Orange Farm. Thought would no man ithi bayenzele isikolo. Wayenze isikolo endaweni ekuthiwa kusesitebeleni samahashi. Bekuyisitebele samahashi ngoba it was farms there, Orange Farm, remember. Wayenze isitebele samahashi, esitebeleni samahashi laphayana, that's why besifunda khona. Umnyango wethu it's a stable door. Uvulile uvalile kuyafana. So it was that kind of a life whereby it's a humble beginning where we found ourselves at Orange Farm. Thereafter ushabalala wathi ngoba le ndawo ngathi incane le masitebele zamahashi asibayise endaweni ekuthiwa kuse-chicken farm. Lapho kwakufuya khona iy'nkukhu. Safika lapha e-chicken farm, had ukuthi sikline before we even learn. Sasusa everything ukungcola kwey'nkukhu and all of that, the waste that was there. Saziklinela isikolo thina. Namhlanje I think it is called isikhumbuzo, but we are the ones, we are the predecessors, iy'ngwazi zakhona ezafika zaklina isikolo and made it to what it is today. Yes, in Orange Farm, this is where we started having some kind of a life. Life was very hard. It was very difficult. There were people that were coming from different spaces and different places. Besingasazi isiSotho, bekhulunywa isiSotho lapha Orange Farm, and we were meeting with different people who were coming from totally different families, whereby we were adjusting to those kind of a lifestyle.
It's very interesting for me while I'm listening, because in those areas and those days, it was not easy as now, where you could just make a certain change of your life and move to a different area and you will be comfortable. Imagine starting as a young boy, having to move from an established area to a squatter camp, and you then now struggle to find a school. And it's Hamba at that time. You're not just sitting at home and the time is waiting for you. It's Hamba, and you know, all those struggles. It's very inspiring, you know, to have that kind of humble beginning, you know, with, okay, this is where impilo yami iqale khona. And then moving, now you're growing into maybe higher primary, into a secondary school. How does that unfold then in that particular era? Perhaps in the late 80s or early 90s?
You know, impilo yomuntu omnyama is not an easy life. It's by itself, it's a struggle. It was a very serious struggle because of now we are looking at that. We're now in lower primary school. At that time when I was in Orange Farm, amazingly is that I never went to high school in Orange Farm. I remember when I was supposed to go to a high school, today they call it grade 7, standard 5. Standard 5 by then. I was in standard 5 and I passed for standard 6. Now, what happened is this is where now it's the most very dear history to my life, in where it actually begins, not realizing how much it actually going to impact me as life goes by. Look, we are in Orange Farm. Sinama neighbors, abomakhelwane bethu, they are from small farm. We didn't know about a small farm. Now, abomakhelwane bethu, they are the ones that have seen in life. Hey, I've never seen people like this in my life. They would bring anything. If you were to tell them, aeroplane, you know, you've got such people that are like that. They're just vibrant, abantu that people normally rely on, you know. And all of that. Now, tina growing up in Soweto, we grew up very strict. Ugogo bekangathanda umuntu oza ngezinto ezintsha angazazi ukuthi ziphuma kuphi. And ugogo bekayishisa induku. Bekathi ibuyisele lapho lento le lapho uyithole khona. So
which was a good upbringing.
It was a very good upbringing. This is what we attribute to abo mama bethu nabazali bethu ukuthi they raised us very well. And with this imithetho lebe ikhona besicabanga ukuthi yasicindezela kanti it was actually making us more stronger and more better people going forward. Now, this one boy was next door. I was very close to igama lakhe beku Usirame. Usirame would go all over. That is there. You know, growing up elokishini, one thing that made us happy more than anything that you would think of, it would be isikhathi sama Christmas. Kuthi kune Christmas nje abantwana isikhathi sabo sokuthi bajabule sidla ama-choice assorted during that time, you know, bayasibiza for ihemere, you know, sikokoda indlu nendlu, you know, still happy, and then basinikeza happy. This boy, I would join him during those times because of ugogo wami wouldn't pay that much attention to what we are doing. Usrame once took me, you know, history has very sad pages. This is one of the sad pages of my history. Usrame took me once or twice, ahamba nami, bekhona isitimela laphayana Orange Farm station abathi straight forward. Now ugogo wami angezwa ukuthi ngeke ngafika phambi kwesitimela. Hayi no, ngeke ngilale kamnandi. Ngeke ngilale kamnandi uzokutshela athi akunatsotsi mina la ogibela izitimela ozofika lana kwami. So as a young boy, you know, and he took me, but it would be secret that uhambe nami. So he took me sahamba saya straight forward sagibela isitimela. Masigibela isitimela dropped me. I didn't know the area very well, but yena bekaseyijwayele. You know, dropped in one station where it was very closer to a place called Lenasia South. Lenasia South, wathi kimi yazi ukuthini man, there is something that I love so much. Ngifuna ukuthi ngizokuzwisa yona. I said, okay, let's go. He took me to the mosque. And at the mosque, he told me, ukuthi, because of the way I look, and there is no black children that comes into this mosque, they never allowed me to enter here inside. But I love the sound that I hear when I'm standing at the door of this mosque and they were reading Quran. And these were young boys that were reading in madrasa. I said, no, ngiyakokota. Hayi ngiyakokota. Kudala nginje mina. Baba ngavuli ngiyavula. Ngakokota. Ngathi mangikokota, I think it was a teacher that responded to the door. Wavula umnyango. He chased us that even this young boy stood up, laughed at us the way we chased, you know. Later on, this is what I discovered. Hey, this would have been, for me, a breakthrough. I became a Muslim at that time because I could identify with this was a mosque. Then going back, he told me, no, ungawari ngalezi zinto ezenzakalayo man. Yabona le ndawo le ikhona la ne-Orange Farm, ilapha ngasemathurumini. Sure, yeah, no asabe. Then we went. Sahama masifika emathurumini, then we found black Muslim guys. We didn't know ukuthi I'm a Muslim. Uyangi-introduce ukuthi naba labantu la. Hey, ilife yalapha yena ngiyibone lapha eLenasia ayifani nalama Muslim abantu abamnyama. Kuyahuzukwa lana. Singaphandle lana basigezisa ngamanzi abandayo bathi siphakamisa ibruku. Angijwayelanga mina lento ukuphakamisa ibruku, you know. So, I know geza kanje, you know. And there was
Usramelo is a Muslim at that time.
Usrame is not a Muslim.
But uthanda land.
Uthanda land. Uyayithanda. And the way ayithanda ngakhona akaqala ukufika kuyo.
Ngapha uthi kuwe thatha land.
Uthi thatha land, uyabona. So mina ngibhekile lento because afake inogogo uyayithela induka uzinezinto ezintsha la endlini uzithatha.
Into zabakhulu.
Into zabakhulu lezi sesiyazithusa. So we are there. Now, but no, uyeza umfundisi. Shuthi usendlini lapha esikhona it's a house. So umfundisi uyeza ngoba sebasifake lana phakathi sihlele endaweni engathi icarpet. And so but uyeza umfundisi uyeza. Hey, I saw this guy coming. What a handsome guy, man. A handsome guy. He was looking like an angel. He's got this afro. On top of his afro, he's got this turban that he is wearing. Ukhuluma ngevoice sanwanani, ninjani, hayi siyaphila. I am imitating this guy because you would learn in the history of Islam within the black people in South Africa. This was one of the guys that was very instrumental at a very early age. His name was Hafiz Bilal, was an Orange Farm. Hafiz Bilal was an Orange Farm. He was amongst the first black people that went into an institute, an Islamic institute of higher learning called Darul Zakaria. Wahamba laphayana ayo memorizer iQuran. And this was the man that was dedicated in this house, eyakubo, dedicated ukuthi no sizofundisa lana nge-Islam. We used to go there all of the time. Sifunda laphayana. So bekhona enye out ebebahlale bayigwara laphayana bathi uDawud igama layo. Yabona. So ngoba nami bengiganga laphayana mangabe ngifikile all of the time. Bathi shimana unubehave njengoDawud igama lakho uDawud. Yabona. Kanti sebengihabilisa vele sekuthola legama lakaDawud.
Uthatha lento
ungaboni mina. Bathi hayi igama lakho uDawud. I didn't know ukuthi at that time igama lakho kumele ukuthi lishintshe. Ngibizwa ngoDawud mina. uDawud usukaphi ke manje bangifanisa nehlanya angikwazi ukuthi ngingabanje so ngoba badala laba bangathi angilifuni legama bazongigcwalisela so I took the name Dawood and I grew with that name. In that year I remember very well, it was the year, if I'm not mistaken, it was around late 1991. My grandmother gets sick. My grandmother was the pillar of the strength of the family. Remember ukuthi uyosusile from Soweto. Ususe from Diepkloof. We understood the struggle of our parents, what they went through. And that is why we don't judge
the sacrifices.
The sacrifices that they have done. My grandmother played a very, very important role because I was also the first grandchild of my grandmother. We are Susa from Diepkloof, Usisleto White City. White City, we grew up as these young boys. Say Orange Farm. Uyazama. Yeah, and you can see she's working very hard. She's a hard worker. And my grandmother gets very sick. Uyangibiza one day kamereni ulele kamereni lakhe uthi hey mntanam angazi if kuzoyenzahala ukuthi ngiphile kulonyaka lonozayo but ngicela ukuthi niziphathe ngendlela eniziphethe ngayo. I remember I have exactly the picture of how she was sleeping. From there what donsa la yazi abagogo mina was the first grandchild so bengispoiliwe bekathanda ukungifaka ngesidwaba phansi kwesidwaba sakhe noma itshali lakhe athi wozala angibizele ngapha esayidini adonsa ama orange bese ngipha ama orange athamba uyodlala. And my grandmother passes on just early 1992. You could see ukuthi abantu abamnyama sometimes we are not given that much time to mourn. And you could see it was very vulnerable. Myself, I was very disturbed. At the time, remember what I was doing standard 5, going for standard 6. Going to a madrasa as well. Now, I knew this is a madrasa where we are going to learn Hafiz.
Officially now, uithethe lento manje. You are part of...
Angithathanga, honestly.
Right.
I'm enjoying as a young boy to go there. And ngiyafunda because of sifunda all of these small books that are there. Kancane basinikeza lento lena. Siloko siyayifunda. Mina ngakazi ukuthi ngimele ngithathe iIslam, but khona laba abadala bakhuluma ngayo and all of that. That is why it's very important every time something that I speak about ukuthi maybe at some point we need to revisit the door in which we entered Islam ngayo. Ngoba it plays a very important role going forward.
Of who you become in the future.
Who you become there.
100%.
100%. So now look at this. I am there. Khona ubaba sekalaphayana loves me, this old man. Uhlala ngibona ngiza all of the time.
And I like what you are saying because it then brings the thought in my mind of the picture of the Muslims that we see today, especially the indigenous. They reflect exactly how they came into Islam.
Correct.
How they act and behave right now is the very same way they came into Islam. Yeah. And it plays a role. It's a very important point that you are raising. I like that point. And, I've got 3 categories. I've explained this to you. I intend writing a book on indigenous Muslims, the 3 categories of which the first one will be the STIs, of which is popular now in the townships. And you have the Biryani Muslims, the second category. And the third category, you have the committed Muslims. And if time allows, I would like to expound on that and explain what are these categories, why there are different types of Muslims. But I really appreciate that point that you mentioned. You are a young man grandmother passes on, 92. Islam is slowly becoming a reality in your life that, this is the path that I want to take. How does that unfold going forward? Early 1992.
Early 1992, look, we're still going there into this house. This man then says, look, I think he was from the Northwest. Mshimani, kuyawabona hore, you are very serious about this thing and you are learning and you're very smart. I think you should go and then pursue this learning somewhere else in an institute.
At a formal place.
Yeah, in a formal. I don't know about this, man. No, skawara mshimani kidlabulela lemma. And look, my mother was worried about me all of the time that in Buyebusuku and all of that. I'm going to this place, eskolweni, I'm not doing very well anymore and things like that. Because we are taken out now from that concentration eskolweni. So into engathi iyakudisturb. Ngoba as the African community, as black communities growing up in the township, we are told ukuthi isikolo is more important than anything else. We are all raised in that manner. So if isikolo sakho sesiyaleka, it means your future is bleak. Now this man comes into my house. Ngiyakhumbula I was in trouble with my mother. Ukuthi kumele ngisazo explain ukuthi why sengihambe ebusuku, why ngibuye ebusuku and all of that. Sengenzani nasesikoleni ngathi soyabaleka akusahambi kahle nje. So this man came to my rescue, by the way. Mafika lapha nathi no, wafika wakhuluma njengomuntu omdala. Mama, umntanakho is very smart and he's been coming there to us. I would like to take responsibility ukuthi ngizomcela ukuthi ahamba yofunda more about this religion of Islam. My mother agreed, agreed that no, if right and all of that, it's fine. Magahambe. Mfundisi Zwide, I was raised very well. Mina ngikhulela ngesitradini. Ngikhule in a very warm home. Contrary to the popular belief, ngikhule mina ekhaya elinabantu, mina nginabogogo abayi-4, if not 5. Nginabomamncane mina. I'm a huge family. I'm from a very huge family. The family Gambata, it's very huge. So I wouldn't tell you ukuthi ngathi base ngizothathwa sengiswa somewhere ukuthi ngiyofunda ngeIslam bengi-vulnerable, bengilahlekile. Never. I'm from a very strict family eyangikhulisa kahle ngothando. My family was not wealthy, but I can tell you this much. The wealth of my family, it was the love. Besithandwa thina ekhaya. My mother particularly, she's a very loving person. She hugs her children. She kisses her children. Ngakhuliswa mina ngithandwa. Angikhuliswanga nge-anger. I don't have anger. Anger ngiyithole ku-Islam, sizoyixoxa leyo. Now I'm going. I am going now to a madrasa. There is a particular person, may Allah grant this man Jannah. He's still alive.
Amen.
Bastata, it was myself and one brother called Muhammad Nur Sasiyana madrasa, Muhammad Nuru Veli, Shabangu, as well as Ulaki and Saskhumbula isibongo sakhe. Sathathwa siyi-3 sayiswe lens. Lens Islam. Angithi aba-Muslim alaphaya lens. So we're there. Lens sayiswa khona bathi smele somebody that is called Amir Sap. Uyozosithatha asise somewhere lapho esiyofunda khona emadrasa. Then Amir Sap came, and Amir Sap enva Musa. May Allah give him jazaa khair, because he used to transport many students abathatha bayisema madrasa and all of that. Maybe from the township, he's still alive, and I'm still making du'as for him that Allah must grant him Jannah and also make it easy for him and his family as well. Now wasithatha wasifaka ku station wagon sakhe. Wasinika neingubo. Mina ngazi ukuthi siya kuphi. Wasinika neingubo. One ingubo wathi niyahamba ke manje. Lapho ebesibuya khona usibuyisela back there. Besibuya from orange farm siya Lens usibuyisela back. Ilapho khona wafika wasdropa khona for the first time ever in a place called Grasmere, a fine town. Today is referred to as a fine town. Grasmere. This was the year 1992. 1992, he took us and put us there. And I met this man that I met before, seeing him somewhere, in the space of Lens and all of that. I can't remember very clearly. But I met this man here who was very tall, wearing a black kurta, a black this garment, and he had very huge eyes that when he looks at you, he commands respect. And then later I learned with this man is Sheikh Basuni, who came to South Africa from Egypt. And I was taken to his institute in 1992. And we were not very much in number. We were not big in number as people that were there. Safika lapha na kuBasuni in that small house. It was a house that was there in a carpet and all of that. This is where we used to sleep and things like that. It was a house that was big. Yazi Grasmere, it was one of those places, ebegwama farms also. So bekusahlala amandi amasifika lapha eGrasmere. Bengana izindlu zabantu abamnyama. Bekhona izindlu here and there and there and there. So it was dominantly amandi amasifika khona. So lendlu le, it was then donated to Sheikh Basuni by Ahmed Sidati babambiza ngokuthi Jesus. Ngoba bekanestoro just across that house. Yes. And Ahmed Sidat said, no, you can start a madrasa there. Bisbaning lapayana, man. I met a lot of brothers, but not very much in number. I'm say about 20. Because if I remember, there was the likes of Fulo Kuzan, Sheikh Rajab, the late Moulana Yusuf from Marble Hall, you know, and the likes of Abu Dawood Dolo. Many of the people that used to study in Darul Zakaria, they were there because they were attracted to this place because it was the place whereby somehow it brought in the idea of teaching Islam in Arabic, because of Sheikh Basuni was an Arab, and the people that were there teaching, Sheikh Suleiman Mkenya was there from Uganda coming to teach us, Sheikh Muhammad from Somalia. So these are the people. This is where now it starts. This is my journey now of learning of Islam, 1992. We left school. This is 1992, 1993, 1994, 1995. 1996, there was a man that came and was a worker, and he was one of the teachers, Sheikh Juma from Zimbabwe. Sheikh Juma said, no. You can't be keeping these boys here and only teaching them Islam. We didn't know much because we understood what we are learning is something that will take us far as well. Or in terms of school, it's maybe a substitute. Maybe he boarding school, but we were never exposed to boarding school. But he said, no, you can't only be teaching them Islam, but you need to teach them also school. Because of Islam must only be there to serve them with the knowledge of Islam that is sufficient for them to practice Islam. But in terms of their livelihood and provision, they need to go to school, man. And this is when we started school. This is when we went back to school. Hey, we were too smart. Hey, I'm a Muslim, I was smart. It is part-time. So we were very smart even at school. I remember we went to a school. There was a school there that was just started. It was called Iwilomid. Begi multiracial. You know, we used to have white teachers. We used to have Indian teachers and all of that. So this is where now I started also with my high school and then finished there. This is the journey where I started from 1992 up until I remember 1998. I was in madrasa. You know, thereafter with madrasa,
with secular studies as well.
Yes, exactly. So now this is when I then continued to finish my schooling. My matric. This is when I did my matric as well. Now look, Islam yaglandela because of now I sengcolele nto lena Islam now. You know, because of there is a lot of things that I wish to say that are in between all of this that we actually studied, but with a bright future that is there, with such an amazing opportunity of this kind of an environment and studio to speak about our life and our journey in Islam, there's a lot of things that we'll actually unpack in where our journey started in terms of Islam. Now I am a Muslim and all of that. Now it's 8 years that I am there. Now I go to school. I come back ngiyapayiziseka. Yazi mawuphuma emadrasa uyapayiziseka. Uyapayiziseka because of, look, and at the school right now, there were many promises that were made to say, amaqeda uzoba right. Now, once you get the scholar, here you are not told, because of this is an elementary level, that we were never informed about ukuthi mandifunda lana angikayi kuma the highest level of Islamic education, or Islamic learning or Islamic studies. We were not told about that. Look, now I'm finishing school. Now I'm thinking, where do I go now? I need to go somewhere. I need to further my studies and all of that and become somebody, and everything pushes back to what, it pushes back somehow to Islam law starting ayong, but this is the field that you actually know. Now, fast forward from that time, I go to As-Salam Institute. I go to As-Salam Institute, I go and do du'at there. It's called du'at. Under WAMI, World Assembly of Muslim Youth. We go there and we do du'at. After this du'at, I come back to Elokshin. I come back to Elokshini. I go to my closest masjid. Ngibuyela kuphi? Angisabuyeli manje Orange Farm. Angisabuyeli White City. White City, it's history now, it's dusted, I'm going back to Deepening. At Deepening, I'm attending now. As a Muslim, ma so Muslim, so ufuna ukuzi-associate nama-Muslim. So, ufuna ukwazi ukuthi akuphi ama-Muslim lana, akuphi ama-Muslim. I started going, they pointed me to Orlando. Orlando, there was a place there that is called the Paramount. Before it became a masjid, it was a Paramount. This is where I met Ubudi, Ubarakatullah, Ujobe, because he used to go there as well, Orlando. Orlando, as I am going, I'm just going for my salahs, I'm going for this, I'm sitting with some brothers and all of that. Then I am approached by Ubaba Musa Tugash, the late Ubaba Musa Tugash. May Allah fill his qabr with nur. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him Jannah. Such a great man that I met, Ubaba Musa Tugash. Ubaba Musa Tugash then tells me, "Ay man, yazukuthini man, bheka la ntwana man. Eshoda ngo-imam lana man. Yabona. Akekho umuntu ogelezisa le ntwana ezizayo lana. Hayi man, zwakala man yabona uzoncenga lana. Ngiyakubona ngathi uklevile wena. Yabona ngathi uyazazi izinto ungoyile ntwana." So I come in, and then from there I become the imam laphayana, Orlando. I become an imam and all of that, up until there was a project by the Jamiat, because Orlando was forever under Sadiq Trust as well as under Jamiatul Ulama, JUSA, the Council of Muslim Theologians. And then there was a plan which is Funugwa Kamanji, and the Muslims are growing. So So they started building a masjid. So while they were building a masjid, I decided, no man, if bazo build a masjid lana, bazodinga umuntu strong, more stronger in terms of grounded in terms of Islam. How about I go and further my studies of Islam? I decided to go back to some of the people that I knew that had an institution of learning, back to Sheikh Basuni. Sheikh Basuni told me, yes, we have an institution of learning, but ngifuna ukwazisa something that, if uzofunda lana kithi mina thina basirecognize, ngiyayisho lento le because of it is a lesson for all of us. Thina basirecognize lana eSouth Africa ukuthi ungaba kanjani iskola we Moulana we Sheikh while you studied lana kithi, rather go somewhere where they recognize one another, where ekugcineni uzothola umsebenzi. No, but it was not about umsebenzi. But okay, no, it's fine. Then this is where I went to Malabamu in PE. This is where I joined the Darul Uloom as a PE under Mufti Siraj Desai. I went there, Mufti Siraj Desai, then decided to, no man, lana sigcine only until the third year. Rather, maybe umuntu maqedile lana goes to Newcastle, or we send him maybe to Camberdown and all of that, or Zakaria, And I decided, okay, you can send me to Newcastle then. I went to Newcastle. Mang figure in Newcastle, this is where I met Moulana Sema. Moulana Sema was right. This was more like he was more getting sick now at that time, This is where I met the former mayor of Johannesburg, Moulana Ahmad Abu, in Newcastle, Moulana Meketsi, Moulana Vuyo, and others that qualified in Darul Uloom Newcastle. Moulana Sema sat with me down and said, look, because of now you are a grown man and all of that and other issues that may be there, I wouldn't prefer for you to stay here. I would rather prefer that you stay outside. But then what happens? is that you need to guarantee me that you'll have a 3,000 rand for rental outside there. Up until then, we can't take you and enroll you here. Sengihlalile isikhathi lapha in Newcastle. Then I had to come back to Joburg. And I went back because of I was working under a Sadiki Trust, under a JUSA. I went back to speak to a very good person that I admire so much, Moulana Ibrahim Bam. Moulana Ibrahim Bam, I spoke to him, Moulana, look, I've gone there. I even went to Darulum Zakaria. I went to Darulum, Azadville. You know, they're telling me about Imam Khatib. What you have done all of your life, it's nothing compared to this. This is just for riverheads, man. I'm a Muslim, you was in Zalama program now. But somebody informed me that at Jamiatul Ulama itself, there's a Darul. So I went to speak to Moulana Bam. I said, Moulana, I'm being sent from pillar to post, but I'm told that I can actually study here. He said, okay, yes. Okay, let me speak to them. We were downstairs. He said, let's go upstairs. I went upstairs. This is when I enroll. I enroll with the Jamiat. It was very beautiful. It was a very beautiful madrasa. I met a lot of people that were there. Many people today that are qualified. I met Moulana Abdurrahman Layli, Moulana Ahmed Budania, Moulana Muhammad Baham, and Moulana Shabir Sekhobela, Moulana Zaid Mashele, you know, and many others that were so brilliant today. They are great scholars today. And I started with them. As I started with them, if I remember, third year, fourth year, I stopped, which it was 2010. 2010, I'm thinking now, masjid is being built. The process and the project is finishing now. The process and the project is finishing, but it has not finished yet. And I'm thinking, hey, yazman ngizoba imam. I think azazi lezinto lezi ngihlala nabo imam nabo sheikh. So ngiyabona ukuthi bayabhayiziseka man. Mabahlala emasjid impilo yasemasjid ayikho mnandi. Even nabafundisi ngihlala mina eDeepening lapha khona isonto bathi kusemahona. Emahona ubaba umfundisi walapha yana wahlala for 30 years abantwana bakhe bazalelwa lapha yana. Later on bamshintsha bathi ayisesifuna umfundisi obusha manje ngathi awusayazi technology wena ilokuzana you were born before technology, you know. You're a PPT sesifuna omusha bamkhipha. So ngabona nabo imam bayakhishwa nabo. Awuhlali forever. Kumele ukuthi uphile impilo lapho khona wazi ukuthi noma ngabe uqala umndeni wakho uzoba independent and kumele ukuthi ubondle. It's very important. So ngicabanga ukuthi mangibuyela lapha emasjid angizobhayiziseka mos. Mangingashona ifamily yami bayoyikhipha lapha yana ngendluzula. But you know what, your husband is no more here and all of that, and you know you can't be an imam here, you know, so you have to leave and open up a space for the new imam. I then decided to tingozakhela indlu yami. Ngahamba ngayozakhela indlu yami. With that, mhlambe namhlanje bayibiza ngokuthi gap year. I left and I went to build my own house. I have my own house, which I am very proud of because of ngayakha ngeyithukutuku zami. Bengekho umusabhayi phakathi lapho. Ngayakha ngeyithukutuku zami. And I built such a beautiful house. Thereafter I said, ayikapheli lento, angakaqedi. I went back to finish. When I went back to finish, this is on record. I went back to finish. Now, I had a choice to say, am I going back to where I did not finish? Or I'm going elsewhere to just finish this years that I did not finish. So that ngikwazi ukuthi ngiqede bangathi, hey, uMoulana Mbumbulu lona noma half baked. Hey, lo muntu lana akaqedanga lona ningamthathi serious. Hamba uqede mina into mangiqala ngayiqeda. So I went back. When I went back, I had to consult with the three people that were there in my life. Sheikh Basuni, the late Moulana Habib, Allah grant him Jannah, and Qari Bashir Patel. I sat with them, I remember very well, and I told them, Guti, I want to finish my studies. Because I did not finish them, there was a break whereby I had to go and build my family house. And they said to him, okay, where do you want to go back? Do you want to go back where you were? Or you want to stay with us because we are running a fully fledged institution here where you can learn and qualify? I said, let me try and go back to where I was. When I went back there, they told me, we can only accommodate you next year. I went back to them again and told them that this was the outcome. And they told me, listen, you take the decision. I said, let me take the decision because I don't want to waste any other time. I will finish here with you people. Yes, I did 3 years with them and I completed there. It was called Kulliyatul Quran. Now it is called JTT. This is where I completed my Alim course of being a Moulana.
It's such a very intimate journey that you are narrating yourself, which is very emotional as well. And I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you the strength to keep holding on and the ability to grow from where you are moving forward. Very beautiful. Now you have passed maybe many years. You know, you are a grown-up man and you are a married man with a home. Your life now is staring at you, that what needs to be done now, you know. And with that in mind, I would like you to ukufinqa, you know, ngesizulu ukufinqa inkulumo ngoba sizovinjwa isikhathi. At that moment, ngamafuphi nje ukuthi kwenzakalani at that moment, you getting employed ukuyofundisa, so uqedile manje uyafundisa emadresa, udila namantombazana, so umolana manje, uyafundisa izinto ezifana njengalezo. And immediately after that, I would like you to share and give some sort of advice to the Muslims who are beginning their journey or who are already in this journey, Islam, ukuthi how should they maneuver around, looking at your very beautiful life and your journey into Islam, grown-up men. Today, ubaba, unengane, unonkosikazi, uHabibi is grown up to a man. Very soon, uzoba neizugulu nawe yourself, you know. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make your kids the coolness of your eyes and make them obedient and grant them a bright future. And yeah, so ngamafuphi inshallah, ukuthi where are you right now and what's the plan for the future, and perhaps advice to the viewers at home ngokuthatha lento ukuthi uyimela kanjani mase uyithathile.
Yes. I would do very great injustice if I am to talk about that, because I'm very passionate about where I am right now in terms of Islam and understanding Islam. Shockingly is that I started only to understand the true Islam, I could say 5 years ago. 5 years ago. I am a Muslim for 33 years. And 5 years, only 5 years ago, I started to understand Islam. When I was studying Islam then, when I was completing, I never wanted to stop learning. I never wanted to stop learning until my Ustad, Sheikh Salama Sayyid, may Allah give him complete shifa, because last year he had a very, very bad accident where he lost his family, and all of that. May Allah give him understanding. May Allah, bring ease to him, Sheikh Salama is the person. If you look at me, I'm the picture and I'm the product of Sheikh Salama. Because of Sheikh Salama says, if you want to see my copy in a black person, it is me. Right. I took everything from Sheikh Salama because I could not stop. But Sheikh Salama then said to me, you can't be sitting here and loading the gun and not sure what it can shoot. He said, go and teach. There is a man that I went to. He was running a Darul for the girls. Moulana Ahmed Muhammad, I'm very grateful to that man, because this man here, there's a scaremonger that is there with the learned amongst the black people. Ukuthi they either become, he calls them gulab jambo, thina sibabiza ngama-coconut. Ukuthi ngaphandle umuntu omnyama but phakathi hey unobu Arab nobundiya man, so there's a scare that is there. So as I came to him, he looked at me as a person that was coming to spy. That no, but he had confidence in me because he gave me an opportunity. With that opportunity that he gave me to come and teach, he used to come and look at how I teach and all of that. Mina ngiphiwe phela ngine-talent angithi. Lento lengiyifundela ngithola ngesitratini. So uMaulana giving that opportunity of teaching, I found myself good saying that 13 years ngifundisa at a girl Darul Uloom. There's many girls that graduated under us, and there's many girls that I am proud of that became Muslims. But maybe it leads to what you've just asked me to say, which is very sad. With maybe an advice for myself and many like myself, is that Islam, again, we're going back. Islam ifuna ukuthi uvakashela umnyango wangena ngawo. Ngoba Islam iti, those who are the best amongst you in Jahiliyyah, they become the best in Islam. And opposite of this also is the truth. Ukuthi those who are the worst before Islam, they become the worst. Since in a history that is very ugly, yabantu bebayenza ama-jihad, batshontshe imoto and all of these things, emalokishini, but asenze jihad, sheikh. You know? Because these are the people that came like that. We've got people that came into Islam and asked, what can Islam do for me? Well, they were supposed to ask, what can I do for Islam? For my Islam to prosper, for my Islam to give sanity. You know, ugokwam umambata, what magazwa for the first time, that's why I'm saying the history has many pages. What magazwa for the first time, abuzuma mongzala ukuthi, umntana kufunda kuphi? What I ufunda le isikolo samantiya. What umambata we qibhiqobo. We uyazi ngani yami ukuthi amantiya ayenzani. Athi amantiya ayenza izinto ezi3. Ezu3. Kokuqala amandiya yenzisa umsebenzi wenkomo wenzisa imbuzi. Oqala lapha esikhulela khona emakhaya ngoba ugogo waseBackville ukhokho umambatha athi umsebenzi wenkomo ukuthi lime inkomo awenzisa imbuzi. Inkomo mangekho yakwazi ukuthi acontrol imbuzi ukuthi yenze lo msebenzi wenkomo, umsebenzi mawuqhubeke. Okwesi2 amandiya athi mawakunika ukudla bese wakufakela ibisi likamdlezane lapha naphakathi. Akuthelela ibisi lomdlezane. Nawe ngiyazi ukuthi iBriani siyidla ngenkomazi. Mhlawumbe ugogo bekakhuluma ngalelo bisi lelo. You know? So bekuthelwa lapha yana. Athi uyazi ukuthi kuthelelwa ngani yami? Uyazi ukuthi kuthelelwa lapha naphakathi? Athi phela ingane iphila ngebisi lebele. So ingane yakhala mayengalitholanga ibisi. So ukuphatha bakuthambise bakenza into yabo. Yabona? Eyes3 ngani yami ukuthi mangabe ungene kulento yabo, inkolo le yabo, wayiyeka uyahlanya ekhanda. Later discovered what is the truth. Maybe 2 of them are the truth. Sasiphathwa, sasidonswa ngekhala sizoxoxa ngelinye ilanga ukuthi kumele siyimele singabantu. But you see leyo ukuthi uyahlanya maso ulazi iqiniso leIslam, maso wazi iqiniso la ngempela, mawubuya uhamba uthi uyoshaya amakamtela ublome namajita again uthi lento lengiyayichitha into yamajananda, iyakushaya unembeza ngoba uyalazi iqiniso ukuthi ngangingafundela abantu, ngangingalandela abantu, ngangilandela inkolo kamveli ngangilandela inkolo kaAllah. Kuningi okukhona kuIslam esikufundile. I'm one also among the founding members of an organization called the Shura, the Soweto Muslim Shura Council. I don't know where it is right now, but I'm one of the founding members, and many others as well. We saw also, the likes of many scholars in the township where we're trying to become independent, that started what is called EGMSC. That it was the Gauteng Muslim Shura Council. I was part of all of these movements that were there. But maybe masangivala sengifinqa is that iIslam iyaphila, iIslam yabantu abaphilayo, iIslam ayithanda bosenziwa njani, abakhangezile, iIslam ithanda ukuthi uyimele mangabe umuntu. Abesuthu bayasho bathi mphemphe yalapisa motho ukhonwa kisa hayi. Kumele ukuthi siyimele singama Muslim. Laba bangenayo abathathe iIslam namhlanje, they must know one thing. Islam is not there to feed you. Maybe Islam is there to grow you spiritually, to know your Creator, to bring you closer to your Creator, to understand that you have a very short lifespan. Uzophila for isikhashanyana here emhlabeni. Siyahamba lana emhlabeni. We've seen the best of people leaving us. But once you take Islam, uyithathe lento le enganabungozi. Iyaphilisa. Ayinabungozi, iyaphilisa. And we've seen it with myself. I've seen many people around me. I've seen my prosperity in Islam. I've seen myself grow as a young man growing into being a great father, a great man, to where I am right now. To where I am right now, I'm also serving. I'm also working. I'm working for an institution that is responsible for idawa. Sifuna ukwenza idawa more. Sayibonga i-SMA. We are very grateful for such a platform. Ikhonkothi ehambayo emile kuthiwa iyayichamela. Iyahamba i-SMA. Nayi i-SMA ifikile elokishini. I-Islam beyifile elokishini eSoweto. Islam beyifile. Ama-Muslim awazi ukuthi ayephi.
Awazi ayenzeni.
Ngoba yahwebhana ama-Muslim. Ubuhlungu esizoxoxa ngabe isikhathi masiloko sikuthi ama-Muslim abantu abamnyama kumele ukuthi akhule ayekele ukuhwebhana. Sidinga ukuthi inhliziyo zethu zibuye ku-Allah. Sisabe u-Allah mvelingqangi. Masibisabeni u-Allah. Simsabeni u-Allah singalethu ubuhuzu bethu ku-Islam, singalethu ukungcola kwethu ku-Islam. Yes, we are from all broken families. We are from very broken environment. Masingalethu ukungcola ku-Islam. I-Islam clean. Allah is clean. Inna Allaha tayyibun la yuqbalu illa tayyiba. Allah muhle uhlanzekile akakuthanda ukungcola. Masikeleni ukungcolisa inkolo ka-Allah. Masihambeni ngendlela kuyiyo silandele kuyimfundiso ezinhle zakaMprophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah nibusise, Allah sibusise, asiqhubekise sibe bahle sifane nezinye izizwe sekele ukuba owenziwa njani.
Amen ya Rab. Babukeli nizwele beautiful journey of Moulana Dawood Ndlovu. I would like to conclude with a beautiful verse of the Quran. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu udkhulu fi silmi kafa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uyanxusa ukuthi ngenani ngophelele enkolweni yakhe. Ila nizobona khona impumelelo, ila nizobona khona ukuthi maso uyithathile lento ayinabungozi iyaphilisa. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Until we meet again, inshallah, with another exciting and very informative episode coming, inshallah, in the coming weeks, inshallah, as well. Jazakumullah for staying with us. Do subscribe, like, and share our page, Conversations with Soweto Muslim Association. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah, dali wetu Allah, Allah.